Hey everybody, Brian Williams here. Got some good news and some bad news. Bad news for me is I lost my job at the University of Arizona. It was a $20 million budget cut and I lost my job. That's good news for you guys though, because I'm slashing the prices on the website. I'm taking the movie, and I'm going to lower the price drastically. Basically going to cut it in half. So I understand if there was people before. I get a lot of emails all the time from people who bought the movie and from people who didn't buy the movie and just enjoy watching the blogumentaries or looking at the workouts and getting information from that. But I can understand that there's some people that would maybe want to buy the movie and they felt that it was a little bit pricey before. I completely understand that. And to justify why the movie was priced the way it is, for one, if you take a major motion picture, one of my favorite movies right here, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles made millions of dollars in the box office. For a movie like this, there is no box office for this. It wasn't in the theaters. So you don't have that money. DVD sales are icing on the cake for major motion pictures. And on top of that, when they get these things professionally replicated, you're talking about millions of copies that they're going to replicate. I'm not able to replicate millions of copies. The market isn't that big, so you're not going to get the kind of bulk rates that you would get, if you're selling Ninja Turtles. I've sent the movie all over the world. I've sent it to Poland, Iceland, Puerto Rico, United Kingdom, so on and so forth. And that's been awesome. If you've enjoyed the blogumentaries and think they're pretty good, the movie is going to be way more interesting than the blogumentaries. Now, there's still going to be people that aren't going to buy the movie but still enjoy going to the website, and that's perfectly fine. I mean, that's why it's there. If you guys want to help me out, then something that's not going to be any cost to you is to look at the advertisements that are on my website and go ahead and click on those. Doesn't cost you anything. There's actually some good deals on some of those advertisements if you look at them. So I get paid if lots and lots of people click on the advertisements. And that's one way that you can help me out. Also, the shirt, here it is right here. I'm going to drop the price a tiny bit on it too. Another thing that's good news is I'm going to make a members section. So this movie becomes more valuable than it was before. Because if you bought the movie or you bought a shirt or you bought any kind of merchandise before, then you're going to get access to the members area. Anybody that buys the movie now, at the reduced price, they're going to get access to the members area too. So there's going to be content in there, and like I said, DVD replication is expensive. And that's, I think, one way. Now, I can't promise that forever. I'm just going to constantly load up this members area with new content all the time. But for now, there's some of this content that, it's kind of like, it's really good content. I don't want to just throw it up in the blogmentary. I don't want to just throw it up on YouTube because it takes way, way too much work. Some people would say, hey, what do we really care about Brian Williams? Why do we care about his Javelin career or whatever? In the United States and, in other countries too, not everybody's going to have these picture-perfect careers like Pitkamaki or Torkilson. Those guys started out when they were 8 to 10 years old. It's so foreign to think about their situation compared to most other people's situation that either don't get to touch the javelin in high school, or just getting started out in college, and just the training situation that they're in. They're not going to have necessarily world-class coaching, and they just have to make the best of their situation. So I think people relate to that. I get emails. I've had several emails of people who are just starting to throw, and they're 23 years old. I think that's why people are drawn to my blogummentary. We don't know much about Pitkamaki. We don't know much about Torkilson for the most part. You see some little small clips on YouTube of them maxing out, and it's very impressive, that they're able to lift that much weight and all that, but we don't really see a comprehensive workout plan, and we don't know anything really about their personalities. So I think that's kind of the draw. There's going to be people that are going to like the blogumentaries. There's going to be people that are going to hate them. Throughout the summer, I did a lot of the cross-training stuff, and like all this marketing stuff and everything, maybe give someone a laugh. Some people aren't going to think it's funny. There is a very important point I wanted to make with those blogumentaries. Last summer, I consumed myself making the movie. If you overwhelm yourself with Javelin or any event, then, and that goes for anything, you spend too much time thinking about one thing, it's probably gonna overwhelm you, and you're gonna get burnt out on it. And that's what happened. Another thing that's kind of good news and bad news at the same time is the fact that I kind of had some problems with my elbow last fall and this past spring also, while I was trying to throw in the competitions. You throw the Javelin, it's kind of like you're going to have probably a little bit of problems with your elbow at some point. And I let it rest for several months, didn't throw anything, and it was still feeling kind of funny. Ended up getting an MRI. What they kind of came up with was that the UCL was a little bit frayed. That's the ligament that gets torn, and then they have to do the Tommy John surgery on. So they said that was a little bit frayed, but that's not really uncommon. And there was no tears, which is good news. Like, everything turned out good. It basically said, like, hey, stay off it for another month or so, and they felt that it was probably strained. I didn't throw anything, not even like rocks and just any kind of little balls or anything like that. I didn't throw anything from last May until October. Here we're in October, so it's got a lot of rest. Hopefully, all healed up. It feels good. I've taken some easy throws. I'm officially going to start training in November. Right now, I'm just kind of doing a little bit of stuff, stay in shape, and then I feel that that's going to be best for me is to go for 4 months of hard training instead of 6 months, because I feel that maybe last season I got a little bit burnt out, not only from the training, but just almost like an overtraining situation in some cases. And then obviously with working a full-time job, it kind of made everything sort of spiraled down, and I couldn't maintain my strength. That you can't consume yourself completely in Javelin. You got to take that break during the summer so that you want to throw. You don't want to have to go out and make yourself throw. And finally, I've gotten to that point. We're in October. I've went out and took some easy throws a couple times, had a couple like small throwing sessions, and I wanted to go out and throw. Hey, if you guys want to see where I've been sitting this whole time, I've been sitting on the edge of this cliff here that's pretty steep, and pretty big drop off there, but anyway, I wanted to get a good background behind me.